She's standing still in that gold gown, fireworks blasting behind her, the crowd losing their minds. Beyoncé, the untouchable queen of perfection, owning the Super Bowl stage like a machine programmed to win. That moment burned into our brains. Clean, flawless, divine. But now Jason Lee is threatening to rip the mask off that shiny image.
I ain't worried. I ain't going nowhere. I'm telling you right now, I'm not playing this industry game. And I'm going to do it right now.
Because while the world's still clapping, Jason's out here whispering the one story the Carters would do anything to keep dead and buried. And no, it ain't about her music or her fashion lines. This story starts with two names barely ever said out loud. Two kids that are hidden like classified info, Rumi and Sir, especially Sir. For years, fans been asking the same thing on Reddit threads and deep in fan chats. Why don't we ever see Sir? Rumi's been in photo shoots, music tracks, even campaign drops. But Sir, he's like a ghost. One person who used to work at Parkwood says Beyoncé's whole team got a system just for this. A playbook for how and when Sir is allowed to be seen. We're talking planned out Instagram windows, staged paparazzi shots, fake leaks, and the wildest part, private medical arrangements, wrapped up in airtight NDAs. Sounds like overkill. Jason Lee says don't blink, because he claims he's seen the paperwork. Sealed medical files that allegedly say Sir is on the autism spectrum. That's what's being said. But that's just the start. People in LA's wellness scene are saying this rabbit hole runs deep. There's talk of elite families sending their kids to secret therapy spots, quiet, locked-down clinics that operate like VIP fortresses, private care, concierge therapists, NDAs everywhere. And guess who's been seen moving in and out of one near Bel Air? Someone from Beyoncé's inner circle, a former assistant who, according to leaked schedules, used to coordinate the twins' weekly routines. That phrase, weekly obligations for the twins, came straight from one of the itinerary screenshots Jason Lee says he's been collecting since 2022. So what is this really? A mom protecting her son from the spotlight, or a power couple so obsessed with control they'd rather hide the truth than risk a single dent in their image? That's the tough question no one wants to answer. But Jason, he's done being quiet. He's not just hinting anymore. He's dropping names, showing envelope corners, timestamps, and partial scans from what he claims are real medical documents, tied to neurologists and behavioral experts out in Brentwood. And who's allegedly been paying for all this? People connected to Roc Nation's legal team. Now, if this is fake, then it's elite-level fake. But if it's real, whew, the fallout could make the Solange elevator moment look like a casual brunch fight. And here's where it gets even messier. 3 separate insiders told us Beyoncé's team has already started testing the public, carefully planting the idea that every family has their challenges. No straight-up confessions, but a clear shift in tone. One old-school publicist called it reputation insurance. Basically, a plan B, just in case Jason's evidence hits the fan. And the timing? Very suspicious. That recent Sir Davis project? Some folks believe it's not just a brand move, it's a sneak attack. A quiet way to put Sir's name out there without making it a big deal. The tagline says it all, the Davis in my bones. Come on now. So while the public's out here celebrating a moonshine launch, Jason's locked in, promising to drop what he calls certified receipts. No full leaks yet, but his tone's changed. Less guessing, more bold. Meanwhile, Beyoncé's camp is tightening the circle. Quiet calls. PR insiders being told to flag any media tying Sir's name to health rumors. We've seen one of those emails, straight from a Carter insider. And through all this, there's still Rumi, the twin they let us see. Super Bowl cameos, Ivy Park soft focus shoots, even a track on Cowboy Carter. She's the one with the stage presence, the image, the story. A rising star with her mama's glow and Blue Ivy's grind. But behind the picture-perfect smiles and spotlight moments, insiders say the real story's way messier. Word is, tension's been building, and fast. Rumi, the more visible twin, is being polished into the next Carter star, while silently carrying the weight of being labeled the easier one. And that word, easier, didn't just come out of nowhere. It was overheard from a family friend at a major industry event, talking about how Beyoncé's team handles the twins behind closed doors. "Rumi's just easier to work with." That was the line. But easier for what exactly? The cameras? The branding? Just take a look. Rumi is everywhere. Red carpets, curated Instagram posts, that viral moment backstage at the Super Bowl, standing next to Jay-Z and Grandma Tina. But sir, he's either missing or just barely in frame. We've even gone through old event footage, and it's real. You'll see security nudging photographers away when Sir's nearby. Tina Knowles once tried to give a soft explanation, saying he's just quiet and loves his gadgets, but that only added more smoke to the fire. Especially when you realize Beyoncé, who's been very open about her own mental health, has never once publicly addressed anything about her son's development.
She doesn't know.
Beyonce doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't think Beyonce, and they're not going to share that with her.
Yvette knows. I got the receipts. I still have the receipts.
And here's where things take a turn. Jason Lee claims one of the documents he's seen isn't just a medical note. It's a full-on behavioral and cognitive summary, supposedly prepped for insurance reasons, and it lists specific accommodations requested for Sir in educational settings. If that's legit, then the Carters haven't just known. They've been actively making moves behind the scenes for years, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The issue? All the secrecy, all the effort that's gone into projecting a different reality to the public. In an era where celebs love to preach authenticity and transparency, how far can you bend the truth before it becomes a flat-out lie? This goes beyond just one family. If the most powerful couple in entertainment is allegedly hiding their child's neurodiversity, what message does that send to everyone else trying to normalize it? One media strategist we talked to called this a tipping point, because if Jason drops these documents and the Carters stay quiet, it's gonna come off like shame. And in 2025, shame is the ultimate brand killer. Even Ye, reckless as he can be, knew where to hit. His now deleted post dragging the twins wasn't just cruel, it was calculated. He could have attacked Beyoncé's music, Jay-Z's business deals, or even Ivy Park's faded buzz. But no, he aimed at Sir and Rumi's mental capacity. Why? Because he knew that was the pressure point, the part no one touches, the Carter family's most guarded secret. And now that secret, it's cracking. Not from a tabloid scandal, but from subtle leaks, whispers, and one very loud Jason Lee, who says he's only just begun. The most explosive claim? That these leaked papers don't just confirm a diagnosis. They allegedly show the timeline. A timeline that proves the Carters knew since the twins were toddlers. And ever since, they've been controlling every single moment, every smile, every post, every camera angle. The documents allegedly mention things like controlled social environments, adaptive communication strategies, even specialized school placement under assumed names.
Beyonce and Jay-Z will do anything to destroy anyone who speaks out against them.
That's right. One education insider told us Sir might be enrolled under a different name at an elite LA prep school just to keep him off the radar. Sounds wild? Maybe not. When you remember this is the same couple that trademarked all their kids' names before the babies even learned to walk. If Jason goes public with these files, the explosion won't just be about Sir. It'll hit everything the Carters built. The empire, the image, the entire brand. From Blue Ivy's Grammy wins to Beyoncé's relatable mom interviews, the Carter family sold us a dream that they're the perfect mix of talent, power, and love. But what if the twins, the crown jewels of that dream, were never allowed to just be themselves? What if Sir's entire identity has been hidden under layers of strategy, silence, and carefully managed PR? And even with Jason dropping receipts and fans connecting the dots, the loudest silence isn't coming from the Carters, it's coming from everyone around them. Because this goes deep, real deep. There's something in Hollywood called the Silence Pact. No one talks about it, but it's real. A quiet agreement among A-listers, producers, influencers, even stylists and assistants. And you better believe those same people have stood in Beyoncé's house, been on her yacht, toasted champagne at those private Grammy brunches, and seen things they'll never speak on. We've tracked the guest lists. We know who's been in the room. Publicists with access to every detail. Stylists with eyes on every shoot. People who've watched Rumi shine while Sir stayed in the shadows. And yet, not one celebrity has said anything. Not even when Ye crossed the line and dragged both kids into the chaos. And that might be the biggest clue, because Ye doesn't lash out for fun. He's messy, but he moves with intention. His posts, they weren't just rants, they were warnings. We've spoken to 2 people close to him. They say Ye's Carter rants weren't about jealousy, they were strategic chaos. And that chaos, it might be exactly what pulls the truth into the light. This ain't just about drama, it's about disruption. Jason Lee's post questioning the twins' mental capacity got deleted in minutes, but by then, the damage was done. DMs were already lit up. Industry insiders started whispering, not because it was out of pocket, but because they knew he touched something real. So why the silence? It's fear. Straight up. The Carters ain't just celebs, they're institutions. These are people with billion-dollar brands, political links, and connections that run all the way from Silicon Valley to the White House guest list.
I want you to think about this. Allegedly, Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce.
Beyonce's reach is so tight, her team doesn't hand out contracts. They hand out ironclad NDAs thicker than Oscar scripts. One source told us a backup dancer got checked hard for saying the twins' names in a private group chat. Another insider, a former assistant, says they were quietly pushed out after asking why Sir wasn't at a family photo shoot. Just asking the question was too much. The message? Loud and clear. Speak, and you disappear. But beyond the fear, there's a deeper betrayal, one that stings even more. Because Beyoncé built her image as a voice for the voiceless. She's dropped anthems for misfits, shouted out mental health, Black excellence, neurodiversity, all of it. But when it comes to her own son's alleged truth, that vault is locked tight. No mention, no discussion. Just flawless rollout after flawless rollout. Curated sisterhood, perfect mom vibes, power couple goals. But is it still advocacy when it's only external? Now let's talk legacy. Jay-Z said it best. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. That line became a whole Carter blueprint. These days, he talks about fatherhood, time, being present. But word behind the scenes? It wasn't always like that. Insiders claim he wasn't around much during some of Sir's earliest stages. Out touring, locking in deals, building title. And if the diagnosis is real, sources say there was friction. 2 ex-Rock Nation staffers told us there were meetings behind closed doors, real conversations about whether to include Sir's journey in the Carter brand or erase it completely. And guess what they chose? Door number 2. But now that choice is circling back, because we're not in the filtered perfection era anymore. Beyoncé's Renaissance era is all about rebirth, truth, authenticity, or so she says. But how real can it be if one of her biggest truths is still sealed off from the world? Rumi's in the spotlight, Blue Ivy's winning Grammys and taking the mic. But Sir, still a mystery, still a blur in holiday photos, a name on paper, while possibly carrying the most powerful, untold story in the whole Carter dynasty. And fans are noticing. That's why their latest pivot feels like panic mode. Look close and you'll see it. Conveniently leaked family pics, more Rumi appearances, casual mentions of Sir slipped into promo blurbs. And let's not forget Sir Davis. That branding rollout feels less like a celebration and more like a distraction. One PR expert called it what it is: emotional laundering. It's trying to look inclusive without revealing what's actually being excluded. In other words, clean on the outside, messy underneath. And people are speaking up. Neurodiverse parents, fans, and advocates. They're all asking the same thing. Is this love or is this erasure? Is this privacy or a PR move gone way too far? Because representation can't just be borrowed for aesthetics. It has to be lived, shown, embodied. And right now, it's looking like the Carters only show what fits the script, which brings us to the part nobody can dodge. The truth, it's coming. Whether it leaks through documents, whispers, sightings, or Jason Lee himself drops the full receipts, this won't stay buried forever. You can lock the files, fire the staff, block the keywords, but the truth has cracks, and those cracks are growing by the day. Because Jason isn't slowing down. Ye already cracked the seal, and too many people have seen too much for this to just vanish into silence. So what happens when it all explodes? When the files go public? When Beyoncé's team can't spin the story anymore? When Sir stops being a ghost and becomes a real person in the public's eyes? Does the Carter empire come clean, or do they double down, protect the image, and risk being seen not as guardians, but as gatekeepers of a carefully crafted illusion? If the perfect image was just a mask, what else are they hiding behind it? How long can the world's most powerful couple keep that mask from cracking? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this silence really protection or just performance? And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Because this story, oh, it's far from over. See you on the next one.